Today we're going to rename fractions and mixed numbers. A mixed number is a number that's represented by a whole number and a fraction, just like these examples down here. 2 and 1/2, 3 and 1/3, 4 and 6/8, 1 and 2/5. These are called mixed numbers. One whole can be written as a fraction by making the numerator the same as the denominator. So in these examples right here, we have our one whole is equal to 2 halves, 3/3, 4/4, or 5/5, and it could keep going on and on and on and on. So we're going to look at these two fractions down below here, these two mixed numbers, and we're going to create them and rename them as a fraction greater than 1. So we're going to grab a pen here. 4 is our whole number here, so we're going to take that 4 and we're going to make it into a fraction with a denominator of 3, or 4 fractions with a denominator of 3. So 4, or 3, we're talking about thirds here, so 3/3 is one whole, and we need 4 of those, so we're going to have 3/3 plus 3/3, that gives me 2 wholes, plus 3/3, that gives me 3 wholes, plus 3/3, that gives me my 4 wholes right here, plus my 1/3. Now when we're adding fractions, our numerators are what we add. Our denominators stay the same. So my fraction over here, my denominator is going to be a 3. My numerator is then going to be adding. So we're going to add here, and we're going to add our 3's up here. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3 is 9, plus 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13. So it's going to give us 13/3 as our fraction that is greater than 1. On the second one down here, we have 4ths. And since we know that 4ths with a denominator of 4, our denominator is going to be 4, and 4/4 equals 1. So we're going to take our 4/4 there, and I need 3 of those. So 4/4 plus 4/4 plus 4/4, that gives me my 3 wholes, plus my 2/4. And that is going to equal, we're going to add these up. Our denominator once again stays the same. So it stays at 4. And we're going to add 4 plus 4 is 8. Plus 4 is 12. Plus 2 gives us 14. 14/4 as our fraction greater than 1. On this next one here, we're going to try something a little bit different. We are going to take our 3 and our 4. Our denominator is always going to stay the same, so we're going to leave it at a 4. However, we're going to take our 3 and our 4, and instead of separating that out, we are going to multiply our 3 and our 4 together, and then we're going to add our 2. So 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 gives us 14/4. Same thing once again down here. We're going to multiply and then add. So 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9 over our 2, because our denominator stays the same. Now, if we did this the other way, it would be about the same. It would be the same thing. It would be our 1/2 for our fraction plus our whole number, which would be 2 halves plus 2 halves plus 2 halves plus 2 halves. And if we added those all together, we would come up with our 9. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So either way, we come up with our 9/2. Down below here, we now have a 6. So 6 times 1 is going to be 6, plus 2 is going to be 8. So that's going to give us 8 over our denominator, which stays the same at 6. And then once again down here, 5 times 5 is 25, plus 4 is 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. 9 didn't work very well there. 5ths. And that gives us a fraction that is greater than 1. On this next slide here, we are going to be doing the opposite of what we have been doing. We're going to rename these fractions that are greater than 1 and move them back down and reduce them down into simplest form. So what we're going to do here is we are going to take our first one here is 14/5. We are going to take our 5 and our 14, and we're going to think, how many times does 5 go into 14? How many times does 5 go into 14? Well, 5 times 2 is 10, so we're going to think it's 2 there. And 5 times 2 is 10, so we're going to keep our 5 here. 10 plus 4 equals 14. So 14/5 is the same as 2 4/5. We're going to try this on another one here. 12. How many times does 3 go into 12? Well, 3 times 4 is 12. Now, because we're not adding anything different, there's no fraction along with that. The answer would just be 4. And here we have 16/10. Okay, so how many times does 10 go into 16? It goes in only one time. 1 times 10 is 10. And we have to add 6 to get to our 16. So 1 6/10. And this is how we rename fractions to a fraction, or rename mixed numbers to a fraction that is greater than 1, or reduce a fraction that is greater than 1 down to a mixed number.